So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen. I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. I know y'all looking at me like, yo, L, come on, man. School is out officially for some of us, bro. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. So get your little paint brushes. Well, I say paint brushes because that's what I be seeing when they be doing their little archaeological little discoveries and different things, and they be doing the bones with the little paintbrush and all that kind of stuff like that. Listen. I always. But anyway, we're gonna get into this video. This archaeological find can change the entire world history. Think so? We're gonna see. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, join the fam, and here we go.
Linear after all, or so it seems. Forget every history lesson you learned in school. These recent archaeological finds have completely changed our understanding of human history.
Okay.
This video will mess with your head and it'll raise more questions than it'll answer. From a very mysterious European frozen mummy to what's believed to have been the largest settlement in Northern Europe in ancient times, here are the 20 most mysterious archaeological finds. Number 20. 12th century Aztec temple discovered after an earthquake. The remains of a substructure of which there was no knowledge of until now have appeared inside the pyramidal structure of the Teopanzolco archaeological zone in the city of Cuernavaca in the state of Morelos and south of Mexico City. The vestiges, possibly corresponding to the first construction stage of the Teopanzolco pyramid in the Middle Post-Classic from 1150 to 1200 AD, have appeared as a consequence of the strong earthquake that shook Mexico on September 19, 2017.
Y al estarlo limpiando fue donde nos encontramos precisamente estas figuras que están ahí empotradas.
The earthquake caused the tilt and collapse of the center of the pyramidal building, and when it was intervened, stucco-covered walls, a sidewalk, and the remains of a pilaster were found. Pre-Hispanic cultures often built a new temple on top of the old one. This archaeological find can change the entire world history. Despite what the earthquake meant, thanks to this natural phenomenon, an important structure has appeared that changes the dating of the archaeological site, says Isabel Campos Goenaga, director of the INAH Morelos Center. Teopanzolco, in addition to being considered one of the Loica sites most important to the region, is now located in the early stages of what would later be the Mexica period. This discovery changes the chronology of Teopanzolco. First, the discovered plinth was built, and later, in the image of this type of construction, it was built the Templo Mayor in Tenochtitlan. The Mexicans did not contribute the architectural style to the region. On the contrary, it was the constructions of the Loica civilization that inspired them to build the Templo Mayor. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. Number 19. Nazca Lines. The Nazca Lines are ancient geoglyphs found in the Pampas de Humana in the Nazca Desert between the towns of Nazca and Palpa in the department of Ica in Peru. They were drawn by the Nazca people and are made up of several hundred figures that range from designs as simple as lines to complex zoomorphic plant form and geometric figures that appear traced on the Earth's surface. Since 1994, the UNESCO committee has registered the lines as a World Heritage Site. However, in recent years, they have suffered serious damage due to the construction of the Pan-American Highway. 450 kilometers south of Lima and near the Pacific Ocean are the Pampas of Ingenio, Nazca, Palpa, and Socos. Between Palpa and Nazca in the Pampa de Socos, these lines drawn on the ground are located, whose width ranges between 40 and 210 centimeters. The land is between blackish and reddish in color that turns purple at dusk. A semicircle of hills in the distance make up a gigantic natural amphitheater open to the west. In this region, thousands of lines extend over 520 square square kilometers, and some even extend to an area of 800 square kilometers. The lengths of the lines are variable. Some can reach up to 275 meters long. The most representative are the drawings of animals: giant hummingbirds, condors, herons, cranes, pelicans, seagulls, parrots, and others. There's also a monkey, a spider, a snail, a 27-meter whale, a dog with legs and a long tail, an anthropomorphic figure, and 2 llamas. In the category of reptiles are a lizard, which was cut off when the South Pan American Highway was built, an iguana, a lizard, and a snake. Many of the drawings are mixed with lines and spirals. Number 18. Valley of the Whales. In the western desert of Egypt, past the green parentheses of the Fayum Oasis, is one of the most exceptional places for paleontology, Wadi al-Hitan, which in Arabic means the Valley of the Whales. The name is due to the great abundance of skeletons of prehistoric cetaceans, belonging mostly to the Eocene between approximately 56 and 34 million years ago.
Large it may have been, but their feet were comparatively short, given its 18-meter length.
It's one of the places in the world with the largest number of fossils of this type and is in an exceptional state of conservation, which has earned it recognition by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. But despite the fact that they were discovered at the beginning of the 20th century, for many decades, the fossils remained abandoned. Partly this was because it was a remote place where it was difficult and dangerous to go, and where there was also nothing of value. But not only that, the locals considered this a cursed place that they avoided approaching by all costs.
I would too. You see nothing but bones. And then you think that's not a place of value when what you're staring at, the bones, are the value, which is crazy when you think about that in your mind.
1980s, the site began to arouse interest among paleontologists who have heard of it. What they found was everything a researcher in their field could dream of: an abundance of fossils, an environment that had remained undisturbed by humans, and a terrain that was optimal for preserving bones and easy to excavate. However, fossil hunters were also attracted to the site, and a plunder began, which at least had the effect of drawing the attention of the Egyptian authorities to the need to protect this exceptional site. Number 17. Göbekli Tepe. This is an ancient sanctuary that rises on the highest point of an extensive mountain range located about 15 kilometers northeast of the city of Sanxingdui in southeastern Turkey near the border with Syria. The site, which is currently being excavated by Turkish and German archaeologists, was excavated by hunter-gatherers in the 10th millennium BC before the human race started settling. For unknown reasons, this entire complex of stones, pillars, and sculptures was deliberately buried around 8000 BC, remaining abandoned for 500 years.
The excavations continue, and apparently only about 5% of the total site has actually been excavated.
This site has revolutionized the understanding of the Eurasian Neolithic. It contains the oldest megalithic complex known to date. To put things into perspective, this majestic and extremely evolved temple was built 6,000 years before the Stonehenge monument. It's considered the oldest temple or sanctuary in the world, where the conscience of the sacred gave way to the spark of civilization. In 2018, the site was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Number 16. The Copper Scroll Treasure. The Copper Scroll is one of the Dead Sea Scrolls found at Khirbet Qumran, but it differs significantly from the others. While the other scrolls are written on leather or papyrus, this scroll is written on metal, copper mixed with about 1% tin. Unlike the others, this scroll is not a literary work, but contains a list of places in which various gold and silver objects are buried or hidden. It's currently on display at the Archeological Museum in Amman, Jordan.
How much treasure the Copper Scroll is referring to, and these certain keywords that refer to sacred vessels or priestly vestments.
The treasure described is valued at least $1 billion.
They've already got it. Ain't no way they're gonna hang it up in a museum somewhere or something like that, and they haven't gotten the treasure. Or it's either they got it, or it's like impossible to even get to. It's that dangerous. Like death, you're gonna it's no way. It's either or. It can't be no in between.
Two copper scrolls were found in 1952 at the bottom of Qumran Cave. This extraordinary find was named 3Q15 to indicate the cave it came from and the order in which it was discovered. The metal was corroded and could not be uncoiled by conventional means. Professor H. Wright Baker of the Manchester School of Technology in England cut the sheets into strips. Then it became clear that the scrolls were part of the same document. Low-quality photographs of the scrolls were taken and published. Scholars have found them difficult to work with and have relied on copies of the text made by the scholar Josef Milik and published in 1962. Another scholar, John Marco Allegro, published his translation in 1960. Number 15. Mystery of King Tut's death. King Tutankhamun was just a teenager when he died. For an ancient Egyptian pharaoh, presumably well-fed and fiercely protected, this was an untimely death. It was also crucial, as his death marked the beginning of the end of the 18th dynasty of ancient Egypt. How could this happen? Experts have speculated on the possible causes since British archaeologist Howard Carter discovered Tutankhamun's tomb in the Valley of the Kings in 1922.
Speculation that he was murdered for his crown. It's one of the most enduring mysteries of all time.
However, a British team may have solved the mystery. According to UK press reports, the team worked with X-rays of King Tut taken in 1968. Included in the report is an image similar to a CT scan, which is an X-ray treated with computer imaging technology. This reveals the lack of a sternum and the ribs are aligned along the spine, probably broken and removed by embalmers. But in 2005, a real TAC was carried out under the direction of Zahi Hawass, the then head of the Egyptian High Council of Antiquities. The resulting images were not made public, but they also revealed extreme damage to the rib cage as well as a broken leg. They believe this could be the result of a very blunt trauma to the chest, like the kind he could have received from a chariot, a hippopotamus, or the enemy during battle.
There's a couple of videos I've heard that he could have been ran over. You know what I mean? By like something like a chariot, but that's a few videos I've heard that on so far that give that possibility. And remember, he had, I think it was some type of disability already, right?
Number 14. The Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant is a gold-covered wooden chest described in biblical accounts that, according to Jewish tradition, was designed and created by divine mandate to hold the tablets of the Ten Commandments. The episode takes place approximately 1 year after the Exodus from Egypt.
The Copper Scrolls describe this location like this.
The Ark was created following the model that God would have given to Moses when the Israelites camped at the foot of Mount Sinai. It was later placed in the Jerusalem temple built by King Solomon. There are those who maintain that it was the second tablets and the remains of the first. On the other hand, others maintain that a Torah scroll was also kept inside the Ark. Yahweh's presence represented by the Ark resulted in the people of Israel enjoying many blessings. When the people broke camp, the custom was for Yahweh's Ark and cloud to go first. Thus, at the time of crossing the Jordan, Yahweh stopped the flow of the river when the priests carrying the ark stepped into the waters on the bank and were thus allowed to cross over with dry feet. Regarding the historical existence of the Ark of the Covenant, since the beginning of the 21st century, there has been an authentic historiographical debate to try to figure out what was the nature of this important cult object. Number 13. Voynich manuscript. This is the most mysterious manuscript in the world. Nobody knows who wrote it or what it means. The Voynich manuscript is an illustrated codex in a completely unknown writing system and full of fantastical, nonsensical drawings. The vellum in which it was written has been successfully carbon dated to the early 15th century, and the style suggests that it may have been created in Italy during the Italian Renaissance. The entire manuscript currently consists of about 240 pages, but there's evidence that some are missing, which adds to the mystery about this ouvrage. And when I say there are about 240, that's because some pages are foldable sheets of varying size. But most of the pages have illustrations of diagrams, with some sections showing people, fictitious plants, astrological symbols, and even some drawings of battles.
It's zodiac charts, star charts, the sky.
The text is written from left to right, which in Europe at the time was quite unheard of. This manuscript has been studied by many professors, historians, and even professional cryptographers, but nobody has the faintest idea of what it is. There's no doubt it has some esoteric, obscure, and mystic origin. If this ouvrage had a secret to keep, it really is doing its job correctly. Number 12. Antikythera mechanism. The Antikythera mechanism is a 2,000-year-old artifact that was found in a Greek shipwreck. Scientists have determined that it was an ancient tool that used a wind-up dual system to track the celestial time of the sun, the moon, and 5 planets in our solar system. It also had a calendar, the phases of the moon, and an extremely accurate timing of eclipses. It's not for nothing that they call it the first computer in history.
It's when you put this one on top, turning about a different center.
The Antikythera mechanism.
I'm so ready for somebody to figure out what this is. And when they do, it's probably going to be one of the greatest discoveries or cracks in the code that anybody has ever done. And it's going to prove to people how intelligent they were back then. Like, I'm going to be like super hyped.
Was so sophisticated that no other tool like it would be invented in the entire planet for another 1,000 years. Researchers have been scratching their heads since its discovery. It seems almost impossible that the ancient Greeks would have had access to such an advanced technology. There was never found any other artifact like it, and there are no records of more than one ever existing. The evident anachronism of the mysterious mechanism has sparked a lot of conspiracy theories over the years. While most researchers don't accept that theory, they still have absolutely no idea of how it could have existed at that time. Number 11. The disappearance of the Sanxingdui. Sanxingdui is the name of an archaeological site in the Sichuanese city of Gangwon, China, and has been considered to be the site of a city of the ancient Shu state. This previously unknown Bronze Age culture was rediscovered in 1987 when archaeologists unearthed artifacts that carbon-14 dated to the 11th and 12th centuries BCE. Having left no trace in historical memory, not even in myth, the unknown culture that produced these pieces is now known as Sanxingdui culture.
Until we find writing, we are a little bit in the dark. We have a culture.
The museum that houses these objects is located near the city of Gwangan. Evidence of an ancient culture in this region was first found in 1927 when a resourceful peasant unearthed a large cache of jade relics while dredging an irrigation ditch, many of which found their way through the years in hands of private collectors. In 1986, when local workers chanced upon a sacrificial pit containing thousands of gold, bronze, jade, and ceramic objects that had been broken and perhaps ritually disfigured, burned, and carefully buried. The researchers were surprised to discover an artistic style that was completely unknown in Chinese art history, whose foundations had been the history and artifacts of the Yellow River civilizations. Nobody knows exactly how this incredible civilization rose and fell without leaving a dent in Chinese history and culture. We don't even know the reason why they disappeared. Number 10. Noah's Ark. The story of Noah's Ark, according to chapters 6 to 9 in the book of Genesis, begins like this. Yahweh observed that men were multiplying on the face of the earth, and violence and wickedness were growing in them. In fact, the violence was so great that in Yahweh's eyes, the earth was ruined, so he decided to destroy that generation. However, one of its inhabitants was a righteous man named Noah, a just and upright man among his contemporaries, and he decided to warn him to save himself with his family. Yahweh told Noah to build a boat and to take with him his wife, his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives. Additionally, he had to take certain types of animals, female and male. The period that Noah had for the construction of the ark is indeterminate. Some interpret the 120 years mentioned in the story as the period until the flood, and for others, it's only a reduction in the average lifespan of humanity. This is one of the many stories written in the Bible, but this one in particular has sparked devotion and borderline obsession with finding the ark. For many decades, people have spent their entire lives trying to find it, but to no avail, of course. Number 9. What is this 2.5-mile-long object moving under the Pacific Ocean? A huge and mysterious circular structure has been spotted slowly crawling across the Pacific sea floor, some 3,000 feet below the surface. The structure, which observers say looks man-made rather than a natural formation, is estimated to be about 2.5 miles in diameter. And not only that, to make things even more confusing, the object seems to be surrounded by what looks like gigantic tank tracks, trenches, or even fortifications. But maybe the most baffling and inexplicable thing about this discovery is that the object appears to have left a 41-mile track in its wake as it strolled across the seafloor in the North Pacific right off the coast of California.
Measure more than 2.5 miles in diameter, and it's surrounded by what look like massive tank tracks.
The tracks don't look like they've been dug.
I don't know, but y'all got me curious. What is that down there? You know what I mean? And we have the slightest idea. See, that just gives me, y'all already know what I'm thinking.
Dug out by an animal or a current. This find has sparked many UFO chasers to claim that this is probably proof of an alien race's activity on our planet.
True, because people believe that that's a location they could be where nobody would, know or pay attention or bother them, or, you know what I mean? Because we're not at those depths. We can't figure out what's down there. So it's like, I can understand their reasoning for thinking that.
But of course, that theory hasn't been corroborated yet. One thing is certain, though, nobody can explain this underwater mysterious structure. Number 8. Ancient pork clock.
Pork?
A Roman-era pocket watch must have been a high-status object, not within the reach of just anyone. So why make this luxury object in the form of something as mundane and unattractive as a leg of cured ham? This object has been known since the 18th century. It appeared in the Via dei Papyri in Herculaneum, and now 3D printing technology has allowed it to be recreated and its operation verified. It looks like it could tell time to within a half an hour, although it would take a lot of skill to keep it stable. And the shape? It could have been an Epicurean joke, some like live a full life every day because you're gonna end up like this poor pig.
Perfect, the way it should be.
The ham clock was excavated in the 1760s from the ruins of the Via dei Papyri, a large country house in the Roman city of Herculaneum. Like nearby Pompeii, Herculaneum was destroyed by the catastrophic eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. Early scholars quickly realized that the unattractive object was a sundial, although some experts thought it was jug-shaped rather than ham-shaped. The object seems impractical, but the Romans didn't need to know the time precisely to the minute. Furthermore, the watch would have been more of a status object. The reason for its shape remains unknown, but the pig is a symbol of Epicurean philosophy which emphasized daily life, and most of the texts found in the Via dei Papyri are related to Epicurean philosophy. Number 7. Sweden's Witchcraft Island reveals Stone Age rituals. Blå Jungfrun, also called Blåkulla, is a Swedish island in the Baltic Sea. More precisely, it's located in the Kalmar Strait. It is...
Do y'all believe in witchcraft, though? Before we even get into it? I think I do a little bit, bro.
Swedish island in the Baltic Sea. More precisely, it's located in the Kalmar Strait. It is uninhabited and has an area of 0.7 square kilometers. Witchcraft Island is made up of bare rock and partly of dense canopy forest. There's also several caves and an ancient stone labyrinth. The island has an important role in Swedish folklore, which considers it an evil and magical place. The name Blå Jungfrun, which means Blue Virgin, was used by sailors to avoid provoking the evil spirits that inhabited the island. According to a widespread belief related by Olaus Magnus in 1555, the witches were there every Holy Thursday. Archaeological studies in recent years have demonstrated that ritual activities were likely to have been carried out on the island in prehistoric times. 2 caves in which rituals were potentially performed were identified in 2014. In one of these, a feature that may have served as an altar was identified, whilst in the other, human modification of the cave suggests that the area could have been used as a sort of theater or stage for ritual activities. If Witchcraft Island was, in fact, used for ritual activities in prehistoric times, then the legends about the island's magical properties may perhaps have some grain of truth in them. Number 6. Mysterious Vault B, Padmanabhaswamy Gold Temple. The Padmanabhaswamy Temple is a hotspot for supernatural activities in India. It was built in the 6th century AD, and since then it's been reformed by the Travancore royal family. It's important to note that the Travancores are believed to be the direct descendants of a saint, which gives them a lot of mystical power. In 2011, a group of 7 men decided to excavate under the temple to look for a secret treasure believed to be there. They discovered 6 huge vaults protected by strong doors made out of iron. What they found inside...
Like that door right there look like the gateway to hell. That's all I'm saying. Like, anybody else think that? Just look, yeah. Sorry, that's just what it looked like at first glance to me.
Huge.
Like, I don't want to end up here one day at all.
Vaults protected by strong doors made out of iron. What they found inside was greater than what anyone could have ever imagined. There were hundreds of bags full of ancient gold coins, diamonds, gemstones, jewelry. There was one door that remained unopened, though. As hard as they tried, nothing was moving. Very quickly, everyone involved in the expedition realized that they should have never opened those doors. The leader of the group died prematurely months later, and an observer tragically lost his mother soon after. These men were cursed. Legend has it, the last door couldn't be opened because it was sealed by sages using Naga Pasam mantras, aka Serpent Noose. That means no amount of power tools will ever open it. There's only one person who knows what's inside that vault, a living descendant of the Travancore family, but he has sealed his lips forever.
And that's pretty much all you need to know. If somebody's willing to seal their lips forever, ain't nothing good behind that door, fam. Or if it is good, it's gonna come at a price. And that's a price you probably ain't gonna wanna pay, especially when people have paid the price of their life already. Yeah. Just mind your business and go back to what you were doing. That's all I'm saying.
5. 1,000-year-old Buddha statue found containing the skeleton of a monk. The statue contains the mummified remains of a Buddhist monk who died around 1100 AD. This was discovered after being scanned in 2013 and 2014. The computed tomography performed on the statue revealed the mortal remains of a man between 30 and 50 years old with perfectly preserved skin and muscles, although only the skeleton can be distinguished in the scanned image. It wasn't uncommon for monks to practice self-mummification, but finding a mummified monk inside a statue is truly extraordinary. This is the only known example in the world. The monk literally starved himself to death practicing meditation and undergoing a strict fast that elevated him into a trance state and induced death. The other monks must have dried his corpse by a fire, and for several decades he was displayed in the lotus position as an example of devotion, probably in a monastery in China or Tibet.
That's commitment. You got that type of that's commitment.
Text found with the mummy suggests that it could be Liu Quan, a revered Buddhist teacher in his time. In order to preserve the body for posterity, it was placed inside a golden statue of Buddha. Number 4. The Cochno Stone. The Cochno Stone is a Bronze Age large cup and ringed marked stone found at Auchnacraig in West Dunbartonshire in Scotland. Local people refer to this mysterious stone as White Hill or the Druid Stone. The rock art is found on a stone that measures 42 by 26 feet, and it was first documented in 1887 by the Reverend James Harvey. The Cochno Stone features about 90 carved indentations, making it what is considered to be one of the finest sets of petroglyphs in Scotland. Undeniably, the stone is majestic, but in reality, nobody truly knows what the indentations mean. Number 3. Pre-Columbian rock art at Cerro Azul in Guaviare State. In the department of Guaviare, a territory located in the south of Colombia which borders the Amazon region, a combination of unique landscapes and history is created that places us in the first steps of men on this land. In this extensive piece of land, protected for its archaeological importance, is where Cerro Azul, or Cerro Pinturas as it is known, is located.
But this site, Jewelry, where we are today, is one of the best I've ever seen.
Cerro Pinturas, which translates to the Mountain of Paintings, is a hidden place in the heart of the jungle, a place that has a lot of history to tell us. There stands an imposing rock formation made up of topoids, a type of rock that is among the oldest in the world. In several of these rocky walls, there are cave figures that, according to the calculations of some experts, are estimated to be between 1,000 and 12,000 years old. The paintings represent hunting scenes, battles, dances, or ceremonies linked to the jaguar, a symbol of the Amazonian indigenous communities. In Cerro Pinturas, you can find, divided into several panels, more than 1,200 square meters of cave paintings. Number 2. Super Henge. The Durrington Walls is the site of a large Neolithic settlement and later henge enclosure located in the World Heritage Site of Stonehenge in England. It's located 2 miles northeast of Stonehenge in the parish of Durrington, just north of Amesbury in Wiltshire. The henge is the second largest known late Neolithic palisade enclosure in the UK after Hindwell in Wales. Between 2004 and 2006, excavations at the site by a team led by the University of Sheffield revealed 7 houses. It has been suggested that the settlement may have originally had as many as 1,000 houses and perhaps 4,000 people if the entire enclosed area was used.
Well over 100 stones, some of them weighing over 40 tons, were used to erect this structure.
The site was populated for about 500 years, beginning sometime between 2800 and 2100 BC. The site may have been the largest settlement in Northern Europe for a brief period. Between 2010 and 2014, a combination of new technology and excavations revealed a 500-meter diameter henge built largely from wooden poles. Evidence suggests that this complex was a complementary monument to Stonehenge. In 2020, a geophysical survey uncovered a series of pits, some natural sinkholes, and others apparently modified to contain massive timbers, interpreted as belonging to a 1.2-mile circle or circuit of 32-feet wells of the Neolithic age. If this interpretation is correct, this would be the largest prehistoric monument in Britain. Number 1. Ötzi the Iceman found with all his tools. Ötzi, or the Iceman, are the modern names for the mummy of a man who died around 3255 BC at approximately 46 years of age. The mummy was discovered in September 1991 by 2 German climbers in the Ötztal Alps. The cause of the mummification of the corpse was the extreme and perpetual cold of the region where the individual died. At first, it was thought to be a modern corpse, like several others recently found in the region. Ötzi was found with several items: a copper and flint axe with a U-handle, a flint knife with an ash handle, a quiver full of arrows with the stems of viburnum, flint points, and an unfinished arch that was taller than him. Among Ötzi's possessions, there were also 2 species of mushrooms. One of these is known to have antibacterial characteristics and was probably used for medical purposes. The other was a type of tinder fungus for producing fire, included with some of what appeared to be complex fire-starting equipment. The kit contains pieces of various plants, about a dozen, in addition to flint and pyrite to create sparks. Ötzi has 68 tattoos all over his body. These are small groups of 3 or 4 parallel lines that don't form a recognizable drawing. Scientists, using x-rays, have determined that Ötzi may have suffered from arthritis in these areas, and it has therefore been speculated that the tattoos could have been performed with a magical healing function, a kind of acupuncture. As you can see, our understanding of human history is constantly changing as more and more data and new discoveries are added to the books. Honestly,
and speaking of new discoveries, I want to know what that is that's 2.5 miles long, dragging the ocean floor. I need to know. You know what I mean? I need to get some cameras down there or something. One of these billionaires, I bet they don't know about it. I bet one of them billionaires knew about it. They'll figure out a way to get something down there to figure out what it is. I guarantee they would. You know what I mean? They're getting all these spaceship parts out of the ocean. Bet they go down there and check and see what that was, man. But listen, bro, y'all get at me in the comment section, man, about these archaeological finds that can change the entire world history. I bet once they figure out what that device is that nobody's figured out, it will change our history. Y'all get at me in the comment section, man. Until next one, I'm gone. Peace.